Sorry for our late delay, for our late start, but welcome to tonight's episode of The Walk. I am Evangelist Octavia Bryant, and my co-host, Lady Zara Bailey, will be joining us shortly. First of all, we would just like to say thank you for joining us tonight. We pray, oh God, that you have had a great day today. And we pray that something will be said here tonight that will help you to be encouraged and be empowered and to be lifted. Um,
Good
good,
evening.
good evening, Lady Z. How are you
I
today?
am fine.
So, how was your day today?
It was good. It was good. No complaints.
Okay.
What about you?
It was a good day. It started off real windy this morning and quite cold.
Windy last night too.
Yes, I was wondering what was going on. I was like, the wind gonna pick us up and carry us on. It was high. It was really, really high. It was really high. But we've had a good time. I'm still high from this weekend.
Yes.
It was a high time in the
A
Lord.
lot of love to our Baton Rouge family.
Yes, hi y'all.
Mhm.
We had a wonderful time. So we're going to continue on in our series of dealing with love. Um, I think the first week we dealt with agape love,
Mhm.
and then we went to um, love of music,
Yep. How to make love last.
how to make love last. And so
Yes.
last week was
Biblical romance.
biblical. That was really good.
Mhm.
It was a twist.
With Solomon
Was yes,
and his lady friend.
and I don't know what's up with them Shulamite women, but I'm really really researching them.
They're interesting.
Yes, they got some interesting
Now,
stories.
is the Shulamite women, are they any relation to Ethiopian women, or is it the same region, or what? Because if I'm not mistaken, when Solomon described his lady love, I think he said something about her skin was dark or something
Hmm.
to that nature. And so
Hmm.
I always wondered if Shulamite women were, in that same region or
Region.
something.
I hadn't really looked at
I haven't looked
the
that up.
area, but I'm gonna have to research that.
Geography and stuff. Sometimes it's very
Yes,
interesting when it comes to the biblical locations
locations.
because it's the same location. Um, it's still around. It's
Right,
just a different name. So it
right.
just makes you wonder if I ever got a chance to walk in
It,
the path
right,
that
right.
like if I ever got a chance to go to the holy city just to walk where Jesus
Just walk.
walked. Ooh,
And
imagine.
they always have the cruises and the little trips and everything like.
Yes.
But it always seemed to be around the time that either one or two things.
Mm-mm.
I got too much going on and I can't get away, and I didn't find out about it in time so I can
Couldn't
pre-schedule.
say, yeah.
Right. Or I'm broke. Oh,
Yeah.
hold on. Let me correct that because I'm not broke. I'm in between blessings.
Yeah, sure. Your finances are not lining up with
Right.
your destiny. Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. Them trips is a little costly there. They're a little costly. Yeah. So tonight we will be dealing with sacrificial love.
Hmm.
And we know that we are in the time and the season of Lent right now, so we're
Yes.
preparing for uh, Easter, which is the resurrection of Christ.
Yes.
So we will be talking about his sacrificial love that he had for us.
Okay.
Um, and it's a good story because I'm trying to remember exactly.
Which one? The Bible? Where in the Bible?
We was talking about it, but we're gonna work it out in there. So we're gonna get y'all a scripture here shortly.
Uh, your pastor said, yes, in fact, Shulamite women did come from the same region of Ethiopia. He just texted me and confirmed that.
Well, thank you,
Thank you,
Pastor.
Pastor.
We bless the Lord for you. Yes. So see, we got somebody doing research before I can even
Thank
get to
you.
it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. We appreciate you.
Because like I say, in the story, it talked about her skin being dark and, all this. And he
And
described her,
smooth.
yeah, he
Uh huh.
described her so beautifully. It's just that in my biblical mind, I
Hmm.
always imagine this tall, slim, statuesque, pretty chocolate colored woman that he
Mm.
just couldn't help but to love.
Did you get chocolate women?
Yeah, I'm just biased. Only a sister can make a king leave where he
Okay.
reigns to come see her.
Okay. To
I'm
get
just
up
saying.
off his throne
To come see
to come
about
see about her.
yes. Mm.
to come see her, and he did it
It's a
frequently.
black woman for you.
See, the strength in being chocolate. Oh, my bad. It's some power. Okay. I'm gonna read this story that really um touched me, and
Okay.
it's, as I said, we were going to tie it into the story of Christ and his sacrificial gift, because a lot of times, um, I think it when we are babes in Christ, we don't really understand the sacrifice, to the totality of the sacrifice
Yes.
that was given, and the things that he actually had to go through. I know that during around Easter time we have a lot of people doing the Easter speeches, and they
Yeah.
pull out the little the little nuggets of it.
Mm-hmm.
But this, I was reading this story. Matter of fact, over the weekend while we were on our way to Louisiana. No, we was on our way back.
Mm-hmm.
But it was on a road trip, and it's the topic of it is called the empty shell. And it said Philip wasn't like all the other children at church. Though he was a pleasant, happy boy, he struggled with things that came easily to other kids. He looked different too, and everyone knew it knew it because he had Down syndrome.
Mm.
His Sunday school teacher worked hard to get the third grade class to play together, but Philip's disability made it difficult for him to fit in. Easter was just around the corner, and the teacher had a wonderful idea for his class. He gathered his plastic egg and pantyhose used to come in and gave up to each child. Then together they went outside and into a beautiful spring day. I want each of you to find something that reminds you of Easter, of life, the teachers explained. Put in the egg, and when you get inside, we'll share what we found. The search was glorious. It was confusing, but it was wild. The boys and girls ran all over the church ground, gathering their symbols until finally, breathlessly, the 8-year-olds were ready to return inside. They had ran themselves crazy. But then they put in the egg on the table, and one by one the teacher began to open them. The children stood around the table watching. He opened one, and there was a flower. Everybody oohed and ahed. The, he opened up another and found a butterfly. Beautifully, the little girl said. He opened up another one, and out fell a rock.
Uh-oh.
And the kids laughed. A rock? But who was the little boy who found it? He said. I knew it would be, I knew you would all get flowers and leaves and stuff. So I got a rock because it was different. That's life to me, he said. The kids laughed again. But when the teacher opened up the next egg, the group fell silent. There was nothing there. One child said, "That's stupid." Another said, "Somebody didn't do it right." Then the teacher felt the tug on his shirt and turned to see Philip standing beside him. "It's mine," Philip said. "It's mine." The children said, "You didn't even do it right, Philip. There's nothing there." He said, "I did. I did do it right. It's empty. The tomb is empty." My God. There was another silence, a very deep, unlike 8-year-olds kind of silence. And at that moment, a miracle happened. Philip became part of the third grade class again. Can we just see him right here where he's already been made fun of.
Mhm.
And then they go out to do this project, and then when he comes in, they want to talk about him because what his vision is wasn't their vision.
Mhm.
What he's seen and what he felt, they couldn't see. How often is it that we always want to talk about everybody else because their vision is not our vision? What we see, they don't see.
Mhm.
And so we sometimes criticize them because they don't see it our way. But we need to understand that we're all different and we all see things differently. I may not look at the the camera
Mhm.
and see the same thing you see.
Yeah.
But it doesn't give me the right to sit here and down you because you don't see it like I see it, because we are two different people, we have two different views.
Yeah.
So then it says They took him in, but after this, they took him in. He was set free from the tomb of differences. From then on, Philip was their friend. 3 months later, Philip died. His family had known since the time that he was born that he wouldn't live out a lifetime span. An infection that most children would have quickly shrugged off took his life from his body. The day of the funeral, the children was filled with people mourning Philip's death. But it was the sight of the nine third graders walking down the aisles with their Sunday school teacher that brought tears to most. The children brought flowers. The children didn't bring flowers. Instead, they marched up to the altar and placed an empty egg on his tomb. And an empty egg, discarded pantyhose egg. This touched me when I was reading because he seen that the tomb was empty. Because the teacher said, find you something that reminds you of Easter.
Yeah.
But how many times do we get caught up in Easter and we think about the Easter egg, the bunny rabbit, the new clothes, the new shoes, but we don't think about the sacrifice that Jesus paid. We don't think about that the tomb is empty, that Jesus is yet alive. We and our sins that we do and we commit, we constantly steady putting him back on the cross, and it's like he's not there.
I mean, even with the little boy that brought the rock, I don't know if he realized it, but the rock could have symbolized the stone that was rolled away.
Right.
And he didn't even know that even though he tried to be different, his egg coincided with Philip's.
Mm-hmm.
So, because first it was the rock, and then next thing you know,
The tomb was empty.
So, without him even knowing it, he made an impact with his egg, trying to be different.
Right.
Because sometimes us trying to be different, um, our intentions on being different, sometimes unknowingly can make the biggest impact.
Right. Right. Because the word said here that he'll take the foolish to confound the wise.
Yeah.
So what may be foolish to me or what may be foolish to someone else may be a moment of revelation.
Yeah.
Or a moment of deliverance for someone else.
Yeah.
So with that being said, don't be afraid to be you. Don't be afraid to be different. Don't be afraid to stand out. Because even in you standing out, when you think that you're not making an impact, someone is watching. You know,
Yeah, definitely.
somebody is watching, and it may not be meaningful to you, but it may be more meaningful to someone else. You never know who you may be encouraging.
If you have any questions or if you would like to join in on the conversation regarding sacrificial love, our phone number is 281 272 1699. That's 281 272 1699. You can call in with a question. You can call in for prayer. We are here. If we're not here and you want to leave a message for a prayer request, you can do that also. Um, if you would like to come by the church and visit, our church is located at 16740 Hedgecroft, number 402 in Houston, Texas, 77060. But right now, we're talking about sacrificial love.
Okay.
Yes. And the greatest sacrifice anyone could ever make is to give their life for someone.
Right.
And how many of us take that for granted? That Jesus gave his life for us.
Right. And the word says that no greater man, no greater love can any man give, but to lay down his life for a friend.
Exactly.
And to think about it, even in the time when we was even in sin, and before we even came, Christ had already given his life for us. The blood had already been shed. So even in that, we was already considering us a friend.
Yeah.
He was already considering us one that was going to be close with him, that would walk with him. And how many we take, like Lady Z said, we take that for granted. You know, we don't even think about what we say, how we act, but we need to be mindful of the things that we say and then we do, and how we portray, and how we can't we can't put on one face on Sunday and put on another on Monday.
It's true.
You know, and even on Sundays, when during worship we all lovey-dovey, we happy, we loving one another, but soon as church is over, we got a total different mask on.
Mm.
It's time out for that. Because God is not pleased and God is wanting to take us to another level. I understand the pastor was teaching on upgrade on Sunday. Love you, Pastor.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't get upgraded with a whole lot of junk and a whole lot of trash. We carrying
Mm-hmm.
on. That's why he said to the left, put
Mm-hmm.
everything in the box to the
To the
left
left.
and
Yep.
send it on out. And when it goes out the door, when you before you close the door, you make sure the devil ain't out there playing in
On
your
your
yard.
property, yeah.
Yeah, put him on out
Yep.
and close the door and shut him on out of there. And it's like, okay.
Now, for those who are wondering, what is Lent? Lent is, get up here real quick again. Lent is the season of penance, meaning that you're making amends for some
Right.
stuff you did, and prayer before Easter. Lent usually starts 40 days before Easter. This year, Easter falls on March 31st, so
Mm-hmm.
Lent began.
February the 13th.
Yes, it did. And it ends on Holy Saturday, which is the day before Easter, which is
Mm-hmm.
March 30th. Now, Lent is basically a period of fasting and prayer. I don't know about you, but I know a lot of people. The very first day of Lent, they go and they put the little cross, the ash cross, on their forehead,
Mm-hmm.
which is to symbolize they're observing Lent. One thing that I noticed about people that give up stuff Lent, their prayer and fasting is they'll choose one object and they'll give it up for that 40 days.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they have Mardi Gras, because for the week or so leading up to Lent, they will party up a
Yes.
storm. They will overindulge in everything. Now, the interesting part about that is, although Mardi Gras is for the purpose of Catholic people or people, doing Lent,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times those that just know about Mardi Gras
No,
overindulge too.
yes.
And so when Lent comes, what is their excuse for overindulging? What is their reason? Because a lot of us, um, lot of us that's non-Catholic would go and party it up for Mardi Gras
Right. And then
and act a fool.
right, but even after it's over, they ain't giving it up. They just going back to the regular usage.
Yes, exactly. So that's my thing, because Lent is meant to be, when we talk about sacrificial love,
Right.
Lent is meant to be where you're sacrificing something that you love.
Right.
And you're doing it as a symbolic gesture for the sacrifice God gave to give His only beloved Son,
Mm-hmm.
only begotten Son. So my thing is, and I'm not criticizing Catholic people. I went to a Catholic university. Don't get me wrong, but my thing is, how is that sacrificing like chocolate? I'm not doing chocolate for 4 days. I'm not doing this for 40 days. How is that equal
Just
to?
remind me of my ice cream.
How does that remind you, or how does that compare to the sacrifice Jesus made for us? It's hard to compare that.
It's really hard
Yeah.
because um, he had to not only just give up um, his friends,
Mm-hmm.
his mother, his life here on earth,
Yes.
but he had to give up his life. His he gave his life for us, and it's like, do we really feel the pain and the struggle, the hurt that he felt just by giving up a Coke for 40 days? I mean, I know that it's always been said, what you do for 21 days, it becomes a habit, good or bad. But do we really feel the pain that he felt when he had to take those 39 stripes on his back for us?
Oh.
Do we really feel the pain when he had to take the nails in his hands and in his feet for us by giving up a Coke, by giving up your chocolate?
I mean, and it's commendable, because it also is supposed to be for growth and
Right.
everything. It's commendable. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
it
It's
is.
commendable. But my thing is, what are we actually giving up when we start this Christian walk?
Right.
What are we giving up for life when we
Right.
start this Christian walk? What are we sacrificing that we were in love with so much?
Cause you're gonna have to give up something. It's gonna
You are.
cost you. It's gonna
Yes.
cost you
Yep.
something.
It may cost you a little. May cost you a lot. It's gonna cost you something.
It's gonna cost you something. But I will tell you this: even in the cost, in the end, it's worth it.
Yes.
And I say it's worth it because you giving up death
Mm-hmm.
to gain life.
Yes.
Because when we close our eyes on this side, God said, if you die in me, you
Mm-hmm.
shall reign with me.
Yes.
But if we die in our sins and we're not giving up anything on earth and we are enjoying the pleasures of earth,
Mm-hmm.
then we are enjoying our rewards here. So therefore, we can't complain if we lift up our eyes in hell because you don't already.
And see, and that's the main thing that we are giving up. That we are sacrificing when we begin our Christian walk. We're sacrificing that sin
Right.
that so easily beset us. You know that lifestyle that we know that um, we really don't belong in,
Right.
but we still try to hold on
Hold on
to it
to.
because that's what we're used to. It gets to a point you have to sacrifice that. You know, you have to sacrifice some friendships that are not beneficial to you.
True.
You have to sacrifice some relationships that are not
True.
beneficial to you. You know, it's just certain things you have to lay on the altar and just say, here, you walk away from.
Right. And I mean, and sometimes it might be family members that you have to give up. It might be um, your high school buddies that you used to hang
Mm-hmm.
out with. Because when we say yes to God wholeheartedly, then and it's not always going to be hard to walk away from those friends
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes he'll separate you and you'll grow apart and it'll be to the point where you don't even realize that those relationships have been severed until you way down the road
Yeah.
and you say, oh, you know what, I don't even talk to her as much as I used to.
And I always say this that especially with family members, like it's sometimes a person's mother, a person's sister, their father or whatever. That person may not be, like I say, it may not be beneficial to your spiritual growth. It's a way that you can distance yourself, but you can still show love.
Right.
You don't have to, if you calling your sister to check on her, and this is not my sister, I'm just using the sister as a
Right.
relationship. But let's say you call her just to say, hey, love you, trying to see how you doing, are you still alive?
Right.
And they start going on and on about who did what, how they did that, how they sick of this,
Oh,
start cursing you out. That's when the phone conversation
it's
can
time to
end.
go,
Yeah.
time to go,
I mean,
time to
until
go.
next time, until I check on you next time,
Yes.
you be blessed. You
uh,
don't have to just totally say, I disown you. You're
right.
no longer
No.
my sister. Get
Mm.
away. But you do have to be bold enough and say, look, this is not healthy for me.
Right.
It's like cake. You know, if you eat too much cake,
Ooh.
yes, if you eat too much cake, it's not good for you.
True that.
But you can
True that.
enjoy a slice of
Every
it.
now and then.
But you better not sit up there and just try to eat that whole cake. It's not going to, same, like I say, toxic relationships. And
Right.
I think we talked about this at one point in time. Toxic relationships. You can't keep indulging in that.
Right.
So it got to be a point where you say, okay, I know this is my sister. God help her understand in the long run. I
Right.
can't be around her all the time.
Right.
And that's sometimes you say is not that hard, but I think what makes it hard is the guilt and the obligation you feel.
Oh, yeah, right. You feel, but
Mm-hmm.
it's to the point where you can. I had to learn, and I can speak this from experience. I had to learn to love from a distance,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a lot of family members that I love from a distance. When I see them, I talk to them, I speak to them. We're cordial one to another, but we can't hang out. We can't go
Because the places they
on road
go,
trips.
you may not.
No, I
Yeah.
can't. I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they say, oh, but you saw this and you saw that, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
No, I just can't partake in that with you. You do you, and if God allows you, if your spirit allows you to do that, then you do it. I'm not knocking you for it,
Yeah.
but I just can't do it, and I know what my limits are. So therefore, no, I'm not going to put myself in that situation where
Mm-hmm.
I have to go back and stand before God and take that whooping that's gonna come.
Mm-hmm. So the thing is, it gets to a point where that guilt and obligation you feel for not showing them or hanging around them that guilt and obligation for them, you start hanging around them, trying to compensate, then you start feeling guilt and obligation for not being
Obeying
with
with
God.
God. Mm-hmm.
So you got to think about it. Which one is the worst? Do you want to deal with the guilt and obligation of Auntie Auntie Betty Ann,
Mm.
you know, not getting you to hang out with her and
Right.
smoke up some cigarettes and drink some gin,
Right.
or do you want to have the guilt and obligation that okay, God knows this is not what He wants me to do,
Right.
and so I don't know about you, but I'm eternal life, hanging out
Hell,
with Aunt Betty Ann. It's not that hard. Not it's
I
not
ain't
that
going to
hard.
hell.
Yeah,
I check you on
it's
that
it.
side.
And even if you don't go to hell,
No, I'm just
it's
saying.
compromising.
Yeah, but I'm
It's
not
compromising.
saying to the lake of fire, but I'm saying you you over here and sin, and you
It's
over here
compromising.
yeah,
It really
and
is.
fulfilling the pleasures of the flesh. That's
Hmm. And then after a while, anybody ain't gonna get tired of you coming around. Even if you don't indulge, she gonna get tired of you coming around. And then as soon as she bring out her pack of cigarettes and her gin and juice, you be like, whew. And she be like, why you gotta do all that? I'm not saying this from personal
right.
experience, but after a
Right.
while, Aunt Betty ain't gonna stop inviting you.
Yeah.
And so, are you gonna feel guilty about that?
No. No.
Because they will call you a holy roller.
Yes, they will,
You
and they
always at church.
yes. You
Mhm.
don't do nothing else. You don't
But
know nothing else. Can you go somewhere else other than church?
don't be looking at me like that. You judging me. No, I'm not. I'm
No.
just not indulging in what you indulging in. You
No.
all right? You can drink something. It's okay.
I'm gonna
Mm.
drink something. Believe me, I'm gonna have me a very strong Coke.
Coke. I'm good over here with this. I am all right, Aunt Betty Ann.
Yeah.
Please. You need to
Yeah.
have a cigarette. No, Aunt Betty Ann, I don't need to have that. You're just so holy.
No,
No, I'm
but
through.
that was the sacrifice that I chose to have.
Yes.
I chose to have the sacrifice of I refuse to do, or I desire not to partake in that particular lifestyle and into that
Exactly.
particular activities, and choose to make it over here in this walking. So that was the fact. That's the sacrifice,
Yeah.
and and
And
I enjoy.
not only that, with you, with me, I'm not gonna say you. I put me on the spot. If I'm ministering, I mean, and it's not even preaching,
Right.
but if I'm interceding on someone's behalf the next day, and I've been hanging out with Aunt Betty Ann, and let's say she talked me into some cigarettes and some gin and juice, and I start interceding for someone, I start sweating. Guess what I'm gonna smell like?
Them cigarettes
Cigarettes and
and
gin
gin and
and juice.
juice.
Except gin really don't have too much of a smell. Let's say some bourbon.
It's coming out your pores.
It is. Let's say that Crown Black starts pouring right out my little, just
It's
seeping.
coming
And
out
I'm
your
in church
pores.
on Sunday and I'm trying to labor and I'm sweating and I'm smelling like straight
Like you
whiskey.
just came straight out the real
that
liquor store.
smoke
Uh
in my hair,
huh.
just
Uh huh.
even just stuff like that. You don't know who you're affecting.
Right.
Somebody could have just been in the atmosphere of that,
Right.
not even really in it, but because you do have smoke on your clothes,
Right.
they assuming, oh, she been smoking.
Smoking.
So
Mm-hmm.
your intercession for that person
Has
is
been tainted.
exactly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
Especially when someone that don't partake in it, their
Mhm.
nose is more sensitive
Sensitive,
to it.
yes.
So, and then you have those that are very strong in the spirit and have
Mhm.
very strong get the discernment that their senses are strong and they can pick that up, and you be like,
Mhm.
So while you sit here trying to minister to somebody, it's really not being effective because they're not receiving.
Yeah, I mean, and even Aunt Betty Ann, she might want you to pray for her one day, and she probably remember, oh, she got drunk with me last night, so how effective is her prayer?
Okay.
And that's to me,
God ain't
that's
finna hear neither one of us. Her prayers ain't gonna get no higher than this
yeah.
ceiling like mine.
And as much as I try to be, um, I'm not gonna even say hip, but one of those type of people, one of those type of Christians that were like, I want to be able to minister on your level.
Right.
I still feel that way,
Right.
being able to minister on someone else's level, but it's got to be some kind of differentiation.
Right. It's
It's
got to be a barrier
it's
there.
got to be some way you can tell the difference between the person that's ministering and the person that's receiving it.
Right.
Because if I'm sitting there, and I know that Eddie Long has not so stellar reputation anymore. Let's
You
let's
know.
let's just put it like that. But he said something. Hold on, hold it up. Leave you in suspense. Okay, Bishop Eddie Long said something that really I thought was really kind of interesting. What he said was, um, someone asked him, "Hey, Bishop, if you were to go and minister to young men, and their pants are sagging, in order to penetrate them more, or in order to make get them to listen to you, would you dress like them?" And he said, "No, I'm not going to dress like them because that's not who I am.
Right.
So why would I go out there and try to minister to them at their, and change who I am just to make them feel comfortable?" He said, if anything, they should look at what I'm doing. No, at that time, look at look at what how I'm presenting myself, and they should try to get to that. Because if I'm coming, he said I can talk to them on their level. I can say stuff to them, but how I present myself is going to be what I represent.
Right.
And so a lot of times, a lot of us don't want to sacrifice. It took a while for me to swallow the pill that I can't go everywhere with everybody.
Right.
I can't do everything that everybody is doing.
Right.
Even not being a pastor's wife, just being a
Saved.
saved woman,
Right.
being a
Right.
saved person.
Right.
It's just certain things in certain places I'm just not going to feel comfortable. So
Right.
why should I even try to go there?
Right.
I wouldn't even look right trying to go.
Because
What
you'll be
is the
looking
latest?
like a Down syndrome person. You just standing out because you don't fit. And then and then those around you can look at you and
And see,
say, you don't fit. Why you here? What you
I don't
doing?
even know what some of the clubs are nowadays.
Oh,
All I know is like they say downtown is kind of the place to be. My thing is, this is how I learned that I'm not really meant for that. When the last time I went, my best friend was getting married. I think that was yeah. I think it was either her marriage or her birthday, something.
okay.
Anyway, we went downtown,
Mm-hmm.
and they told us it's free before 10, and I think we got there like right at 10 or right a little bit before 10, so we missed the cover. But when I looked at it, the cover charge was $20. I said, "Oh no, no, ma'am."
She
If we would have got there a few minutes later and I wouldn't have got in free, I wouldn't have went. I'm telling you. Mm-mm.
she said
20.
$20. You knew then?
No, no,
You
yes.
knew that was
Cause,
it?
cause back in the day, and then people
Right.
that will spend that without a problem, and
Right.
they're happy
Yeah.
spending that $20. I cannot see myself spending $20 to go into a smoky club
Okay.
to get somebody to either look at me with lust or look at me with disgust and get a drink that is priced higher than anything. The drink is like $10, $15.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
Right.
And then stand there and expect to enjoy myself. I can't do it. I can't do it. I really can't. Even when it's like people have birthday parties,
Yes.
I just like, well, okay, what, I'll try to make it, but something always comes up, or it's just not right. I don't feel right trying
I'd
to
be
do it.
like, where you having it at?
The last birthday party I went for someone that was, um, they kept saying it's not a club, it's a lounge, it's a lounge. When I got there, it looked like a club to me.
Ask me well, tell me what's the difference.
Oh no, it looked like a club.
What's the
It had the
difference?
dance floor, it had the bar, it had a DJ. So the way it looked like club. So I got there, we got there, 'cause I had my husband was with me. We sitting there like just uncomfortable. Because as an intercessor, as a person that has spiritual discernment,
Mhm.
All of these different spirits are just
Mhm.
everywhere. And
Mhm.
so you looking at this person like, ooh, ooh, and you know, you try not to be conceited or anything. So
Mhm.
I tried to get up and try to dance a little bit. Still nothing.
Mm-mm.
Still nothing. So I had to come to the decision that certain sacrifices I have to make for this Christian walk.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with it. I'm very happy with it.
Yes.
I'm very happy with it.
And that's why I don't get upset when my old friends, now associates, don't ask me to go. Because even when I was in college, and my friends then, when they would go out on Saturday nights, they wouldn't ask me to go. I
Yeah.
wouldn't know that they was gone until the next morning when we was getting ready to go to church and we in the car and they have a, oh, we went to Papa Papa. Y'all went without me? Y'all didn't call
And
me?
you act like you heard, but you know good and well you probably wouldn't have gone. Let's be
But
honest. Exactly.
it was the thought.
You know what? I feel like that too. It's the thought
Like
that
y'all
counts.
didn't even, we already knew you was gonna say no.
But
Yeah, I might have
give
would
me
have
the
had
chance
a
to say no,
yeah,
you know?
I might have would have had a wild hair that Saturday night and probably
Or at least I can cover you while you're gone. You know, let me know something.
okay.
But I
Y'all
mean,
just
my
snuck
thing,
off and left me.
and my thing is, that's the least that we can do. You know, being in love with Jesus
Right.
and having Him sacrifice His life for us, the least we can do is give up those little things that we know is not going to make or break us.
Okay.
It's not.
Because I mean, he gave the ultimate
Ultimate.
sacrifice.
Yes.
And every
Yeah.
time I think about it, I just get happy and I get excited. And I think about the empty tomb.
Yes.
You know, um, even when Mary went looking, he said, who are you looking for? I'm not there. Here, I go over here. You know? So he ain't in the
and
club.
was
He
he?
ain't in no little dark alley room.
And he was even considerate enough to send an angel, kind of like, to give him a heads up.
Yes.
Hey, just come and let you know ahead of time. Just give you the heads up.
Okay.
He's just so considerate.
Ain't
He
he? Just so compassionate.
just
Just so
loves us
loving.
so much.
So loving. I
He
mean,
is.
regardless, and I ain't gonna say regardless, but through it all, even though we sometimes continue to do our own little private agendas and do what we
Yeah.
want to do. You know, he does have the rod of correction. Don't get it twisted.
Yes.
But even in that, he yet loves us. And then I'm so grateful for the rod of correction because the word says that he chastened whom he loves. So I'm glad for the chastening because that lets me know that he loves
It's
me.
like with your mama would always say, I whoop you because I
Love
love you.
you. Yes.
And I'm like, what? I don't understand it. Leave me alone. But now that I'm older,
Mhm.
and now that the things that I would have gotten in trouble for and would have went down the wrong path, and I got that whooping,
Okay.
I remember the whooping and be like, okay, I'm not going that
I'm
way.
not
I'm
going
not
that
going to
way.
do this. I'm
Mm-mm.
not going to do that. I'm not going to. So I thank God for my mama whooping me, even though some people feel like, whoopings are, so, what do they say? So cruel and unusual punishment and all that
Punishment.
kind of stuff. I thank God for my mama, and I know this, this is not right to say nowadays. Whoopings are wrong. I thank God for the whoopings I used to get.
I'm sorry, but I believe in the word. I live on the word. I eat the word. And the word says, spare
Spare
the
the rod.
rod, spoil the child.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but if you do wrong, you're going to get the rod.
Yeah, I thank God for the whooping she gave my brother that I
Okay.
didn't have to get. Because after I would see him get whooped
Okay?
for them grades, I'm like, oh
Oh,
no.
no. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
That ain't
See, and
me.
we was wise. We was wise enough to
Mm-hmm.
learn by observation.
Yes.
You can watch and see what happens to somebody. Oh no,
Mm-hmm.
that's okay. Oh, that's what happened when you did that. Oh, I won't be doing that one. Thank you for that
Mm-hmm.
lesson learned. I'm so
I'll
grateful.
tell you my testimony, and it's gonna be short. But when I was 12, I was 12 years old. I had this little boy I liked. He wasn't even really my boyfriend. And I was on my way. I asked my mom if I can go walk to the corner store. She was like, okay, you can. And I'm like, can I go by myself? I'm like, yeah. And I saw him, and we were like, okay, hey, what's up? And then I asked later on, could I go to my friend's house, who lived 2 streets over, up the street from him? So
Mm-hmm.
I knew I was gonna have to pass his house
To get to your
to
friend
get to my
house.
friend's house. So
Little Red
I
Riding
wasn't
Hood.
lying to my mama. I wanted to go to my friend's house, but I was hoping that I would run into him again.
Mm-hmm.
So I did,
Mm-hmm.
and when I saw him, I kissed him
Mm.
in the middle of the street.
Who was watching?
Nobody was watching, but let me tell you how God worked that thing out. Later on the phone, I was talking to the little boy, and I asked him how was the kiss,
Mm-hmm.
and my brother heard what I said.
Uh-huh.
And because he heard what I said, he went and reported it to my mama and my
Uh-uh.
dad.
Uh-uh.
Yes. I got off the phone. My dad said, "Who were you talking to?" And I told him because I didn't think nothing of it. He said, "Okay, go in your room, get the clothes hanger. Go get the clothes hanger." I'm like, "Wow, what are you talking about?" And I'm playing stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you was kissing a little boy. Huh? What? You know, I'm scared to lie, but I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to answer. And so finally, I had to break down and say, "Yes, I kissed him." And they only popped me about 3 or 4 times.
But them 3 or 4
That was
times,
enough.
do you remember
That
them
was
3 or 4
enough. I
pops?
never kissed a little boy in the street again. I didn't even hardly want to go to my friend's house. I'm like, you come over here, or we just talk on the phone. I did. It was. I think it was like 16 years old. No, I never went over her house again. I really don't think I ever went again. I just that I
That was
learned.
a very memorable.
That was my
I
correction.
know that's
And in the
right.
long run nowadays, I well not in the long run nowadays, but when I was dating, I didn't feel that I had to go and get with everybody and their mama and
Right.
well not mom, they brother
Right.
and cousin. I didn't
Right.
feel like I had to do that. I didn't feel like I had to show love like that.
Right.
So because of that, I realized, okay, I got to check my moves, check my
Mm-hmm.
fastness, slow it down.
Slow it down. Slow it down.
So
Slow it down.
yeah.
We're gonna have this little conversation on the phone. We're gonna leave it right there. Mm-hmm. Mm.
Exactly. But do you have anything else that you need to express?
I just want to say that even in this time of Lent and in this time of preparation for resurrection, we just pray that you will be mindful and remember what the reason of the season is really for and for the celebration, and be mindful that it is not about uh, the Easter bunnies, and it's not about the new clothes and the Easter candy, even though we all like it. But just be mindful of the sacrifice that was given for us. And if we want to continue to worship and walk and live in kingdom, that we're going to have to make some sacrifices. It may not be pleasing to us at first, but it would be very beneficial for us down the road. We want to always invite you over to I'll invite you over. Invite you to uh, call the line and share in with us. The number again is 281-272-1699. If you have a prayer request, please feel free to call us or email us at thewalk@restorationofpraise.org, or you can just email us at RLP.
RP dot fellowship.
And also, uh, we welcome you to come and join us here at the church for midweek Bible studies at the 3D Biblical Studies. Is Pastor still working on
Yes.
pour me some tea? So we're still working on tea
But
time.
before you do that, I did get a text from someone, and they said a club and a lounge are different. A club is self-explanatory. A lounge is a place to sit and enjoy two totally different types of music and crowd. However, this particular lounge I was in was a club. It was incognito. So I mean, it's probably well, it's not probably. There are clubs and there are lounges.
Right.
This particular lounge, they said it was a lounge. It was a club. This
Well,
in this instance.
I want to say thank you to our viewers that watches and helps us, because we need that feedback, because all of us don't know. So that's what you're here for. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We greatly appreciate it.
Because
So we
yeah,
know the
I mean, because
difference.
we have, I've experienced lounge atmosphere, but like I say, that particular instance, what they tried to do is they tried to bring in the downtown crowd.
Oh, okay.
And so they tried to make it seem upscale. but it really was basically.
So this is my question. I
Mm-hmm.
know we don't got out, but
I mean,
the clubs
we
is
still
like
use train.
the more the hole in the walls.
Clubs are like the ones that the main thing in a club is the dance floor.
Okay,
So
so
the
what's
main
the main thing
objective in
in the
in
lounge?
a lounge, it could
You
be
just
anything from like live music. It can even be just an atmosphere of uh, basically lounge chairs
oh
where
okay,
you kind of just sitting back relaxing.
just
I
chilling.
know that there's some places where like businessmen will go
Right.
and they may have clients share drinks and stuff like that, talk business,
Oh okay.
stuff like that. There even may be like little appetizers and stuff being served, things like that.
Oh, okay.
But this place, once again, this place, unless it was a different atmosphere that for that day, this place was a club to me.
Oh.
Yeah, because it was a big dance floor in the middle.
Uh huh.
And there wasn't a whole bunch of chairs. There was some tables, but like the same amount of tables you would see if you were to go to some other little club. So,
Oh okay.
I don't know. But there are lounges that exist. This place wasn't. And I'm not saying a name because they may have changed by now.
That's fine. We all
Mm.
getting educated one way or
Yes.
the other.
Biblical studies. Lord pour me some tea. He is going to continue with that. Um, I think this might be the last week because
Okay.
this is the week leading into March.
Mhm.
And so, and I'm not sure, but I think he is closing it out with, well, he's going to have another installment.
Another tea tip.
Mm-hmm.
So we having tea time. So we
Tomorrow,
want to
yes.
invite you out Thursday
Mm-hmm.
for tea time. It starts at 7:30. If you are unable to be here live and in person with us here at the Restoration of Praise, we are here on Ustream
Yes.
on the Restored Vision channel.
Yes.
So we want to invite you to come and visit us over there on that particular channel. We also have the conference line.
Mm-hmm.
If you would like to dial in, if you're unable to Ustream us, and the number for that
It's
is
the
going to be
restoration line.
is the restoration line, and the number is 605
Mm-hmm.
477 2100. That number again is 605 477 2100, and the code is 865831. So also we would like to invite you to Sunday morning service
Yes.
to come and visit with
Coming
us.
up in March is our M&M Men's Month and
Hon, I thought
membership
you would say
drive.
March Madness.
No, it's our men's
M&M. We get
month.
some chocolate and some
It's
peanuts.
our men's month and it's our membership drive. So if you are on Facebook, look for our little testimonial videos, our videos of invitation from the different members to kind of like invite you to come to our church. They should be very fun. We're gonna make sure they're fun.
That should be
So
interesting.
M&M is next month.
They are turning social cam. Restoration of praise, only the praise.
And we can't forget that the men are having their conference. The theme is SOAR,
Oh,
SOAR, SOAR, and that's going to be on the 15th and the 16th of March. So we're here to encourage our men to go out there, get the word. We got some brothers that are on fire here,
amen.
so get close to them so you can catch that spark.
And where are the men's having their conference at this year?
They will have it at La Torretta Resort and Spa, which is in Montgomery County. Um, Pretty much Conroe, but more in Montgomery County. And it's not that far, about 45 minutes from here, if that much. It's a beautiful property.
Okay.
And for more information, please feel free to call the number 281-272-1699 for more information. It's open to all men of all ages from all churches.
Amen.
Man.
So also you can also inquire about the invitations, I mean the locations and the time also on the Restoration of Praise page on Facebook
And website. We're everywhere.
and the website.
www.restorationofpraise.org. We are everywhere.
We even on Twitter.
Twitter, Ustream, Facebook, Yahoo,
We are
everywhere.
accessible to you.
Everywhere. So thank you and join us next time on the walk where
As we worship and live kingdom. Thank
Have a
you.
good evening. Broadcast stop.